Hi, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. The first of all, we'll take one past year question again today. Let's try to do that question first. So the question is, explain. Try to do this yourself also. Friedman's demand for money function. Explain Friedman's demand for money function, and it is a 5 marks question. Take a moment, try to do this question yourself. So you should be aware about the different kind of demand for money theories that have been introduced, right? And you should also be aware about the theoretical implications of these theories, right? So when we talk about Friedman's demand for money function, first of all, it is a very, very important component of the monetarist theory. Huh? And when did he derive this? He derived this as a broader critique of the Keynesian framework, right? He proposed it as an alternative theory to the Keynesian framework. जो भी केन्स ने बोला उसका एक alternative theory फ्रीडमैन ने दिया, right? So so when we talk about the Friedman's theory, so we must write down that uh, Milton Friedman demand for money function is a key component of the monetarist theory of economics, right? And what did he emphasize on? Of course, the function is a lot of things, but he mainly emphasized on the role of money supply influencing the economic activity. So he said it's the supply of money which can go ahead and influence the economic activities, right? So his theory, it acts, his version acts as a broader critique to Keynesian demand for money theory, right? So, so what kind of theory did he give? He said that the demand of money, it is a function of many things. The first is permanent income. Then you have return on bonds. You have return on equities. You have return on, you can write that as RP, return on physical assets. Many books write that as return on assets, right? Expected inflation and a random error term. This is the function for the demand of money that was given by Friedman, right? So we can go ahead and we can say YP stands for permanent income. RB is the interest on bond. RE is the return on equity. RP is return on assets, physical assets. Huh? like real estate, like whatever house you're buying, etc. Pi E is expected inflation, and U is random error term. U is the random error term that we have in this model, right? Now, so let me just explain you these because it's just a 5 marks question. You don't have to go in detail, but let me just explain them. You can then trim this answer accordingly. So when we talk about permanent income, beta, तो permanent income में क्या हो जाता है? What he said is that demand of money is influenced by permanent income rather than current income, right? And what is permanent income? Permanent income is the average or expected long-term income, right? So I am not deciding based on transitionary income, right? My decision is not based on the changes in income which happen quickly once in a while. No, not based on the bonus that I'm going to receive, right? My my decision is going to be based more on the long-term income that we have, right? More on the long-term money that I'm going to go ahead and hold, right? Then the second one that was mentioned by him, it was the return on bond, right? So, he said that the higher the return on the bonds that will be there, it means that people will demand bonds, people will go towards the bond market. So, when people will go towards the bond market, lower will be the demand for money. The demand for money will reduce because people will want to prefer to hold interest bearing bonds. The bonds give you interest, money is interest free. So if the return on bonds will increase, you will shift yourself to bonds and the demand for money will decrease. The same is the case with return on equity and return on physical asset. Absolutely same, right? So if there is going to be more return on equity, it is going to mean that people will shift towards equity. So the demand for bonds will decrease. And if there is going to be more return on physical asset, it means that people will shift towards physical asset. So the demand for money will again decrease, right? So this is the relationship between the money and the different kind of returns. Now, let's talk about expected inflation. So if I am assuming that there is going to be increase in the inflation in the economy, right? Then I want to go ahead and I want to save my money in some interest bearing asset. Because if I hold money, money will lose its value, right? My purchasing power will erode, right? There will be no purchasing power left. है ना? तो अगर मुझे लग रहा है that there is going to be increase in the inflation, then I don't want to hold money. मुझे पैसा हाथ में नहीं रखना. I want to go ahead and I want to invest my money in interest bearing asset. So there is going to be decrease in the demand of money. I will hold less money. Okay. And random error term. Random error term is nothing, but there is always some randomness in your model, right? There is some, he said that I cannot have a model which is like Keynes, which is completely stable and predictable, right? So Friedman says that demand of money is definitely going to be go ahead and definitely going to be affected by some random terms also, right? So this is the demand for money function that was given by Friedman. Now there are two implications of the model given by Friedman, though theoretical implication. So if I tell you the theoretical implications, the first theoretical implication is money as an asset. Money as an asset. Money as an asset means Friedman viewed money as one of the many assets that people can hold in their portfolio. ठीक है, तो बाकी पोर्टफोलियो में हम क्या क्या रख रहे हैं? बॉन्ड, equity, physical assets, etc. But he said money is also considered to be an asset in the portfolio, right? And what will decide whether I put my money, whether I keep it in cash or whether I put it in other assets? It will be dependent on the return on the alternative assets. कि बाकी चीजों पे मुझे कितना return मिल रहा है, right? So therefore, what he said is that money itself is one of the assets that people can hold in the portfolio. Money is one of the assets that people can hold in the portfolio, and the decision to hold money versus other assets depends on the return from other assets. Right? That's the first one. अब दूसरे पे आते हैं. Second implication, all of us know, which is quantity theory of money. Right. So according to Friedman, first of all, he's central to the revival of quantity theory of money. जिसने quantity theory को revive किया, वापस लेकर आए, he said it was Friedman. And Friedman said that the supply of money, it is proportional to it has direct and proportional effect to the price level. Right? In the long run. So when we say MV is equal to PY, because in the long run, we hold V and Y constant. V is constant, Y at full employment. So we know that growth of money and growth of price happen at the same rate. Right? They happen in the same rate. So he said that controlling money can help us manage inflation in the economy. If I can control the supply of money, I can manage the inflation in the economy. And that's the second theoretical implication which was given by Friedman, right? Of course, the approach given by Friedman and Keynes were very different. Keynes ने liquidity के बारे में बात की थी, liquidity preference. Keynes ने interest rate के बारे में बात की थी as a primary determinant to demand of money. Whereas here, the model given by Friedman, it had multiple things, right? He had focused on permanent income, interest rate, expected inflation, etc. So he had focused on more things as compared to Keynes, right? This is the theory given by Friedman, right? So this much is a perfect part to be written in this answer. Okay. Let us go ahead now and continue what we were doing.